while Liz is putting things in the chat box. Hello and welcome, first of all, to everyone. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate you being here. We're excited to launch this new process. We know anything like this is an ask of people learning something new, so we appreciate your willingness to do that. I want just a couple of housekeeping things. There will be time for questions. You can use on your phone *6 to unmute yourself. We just ask that you mute yourself if and when you're not speaking to eliminate background noise, or you can use the little microphone icon if you're doing this on the computer to unmute yourselves. And of course, you can always use the chat box to ask questions as well. What we're going to talk about today, it's a fairly simple process, but there are a lot of details that go along with it. So I just want to say you're not required to commit all of this to memory. This PowerPoint, the slides are meant to be tools to walk you through the steps to kind of go along, look at while you're actually signing up for Zengine, while you're submitting documents in Zengine. So you're not required to commit these to memory. These documents are available to you. Liz has put them in the chat box and they're available on the CT BOS website as well. So, and we're recording this and we're gonna put the video up on the website also afterwards. So don't worry about that. There's a couple of associated documents. If you don't wanna use the PowerPoint, if you just wanna use the Word documents, those are available too. So I think that's it. We can go ahead and get started. So the platform we'll be using to collect documents is called Zengine. We're going to talk, this is our agenda, the purpose, creating an account, submitting documents, priorities, and resources. As I'm going to walk through the process with screenshots and everything of creating an account and submitting documents, and then I'm going to go to live screen and walk through the process afterwards so you can see what it looks like. We have a grants management database. We've surveyed a lot of different products and we found that one that fit our needs and was also more economical for us. So I just want to acknowledge to you all that it's imperfect. We have had to have them customize it for us, and there are some processes that we wish were maybe fewer clicks than they actually are, and we're working on improvements along the way. So if you do have suggestions, feel free to send them along to us, but we're keeping our list of suggestions for future processes to make them smoother or easier as well. So beginning October, we'll be collecting grant-related documents through Zengine. We're no longer going to be collecting documents through email. It's going to be an organized repository as opposed to collecting things which we are used to doing through Gmail. We're going to do it through this platform, so this way they'll all be in one place for us. Providers will be responsible for reviewing your contact information in Zengine in the database regularly. So this is going to be the primary means of us sending out information to you in terms of deadlines for the various renewal processes has begun just this week. So we're going to collect documents for that. It's going to be our primary means of sending you. This is the due date for the agency information form. This is the due date for your consumer surveys that are due on the 9th of November. And we'll be able to track who sent them, send out reminders if you haven't sent them, that type of thing. Zengine contacts are updated to our constant contact provider email list. So this system does communicate with constant contact. So for a while here, we'll be sending out both ways. We'll be sending things through Zengine and things through constant contact until we believe that everyone is set up, that should be set up, and it's working smoothly. Just an FYI, if you're a provider who wants to also be on the steering committee email list, that does not connect to Zengine. So you'll still need to go through the CT BOS website and connect to that distribution list that way. So again, these are the documents that will be collected: renewal, applications for the annual NOFA competition, renewal evaluation forms. We're going to collect monitoring documents. In the future, we're going to collect RFPs with this database. And then also, again, facilitate the processes of setting deadlines, sending group emails, and tracking everybody's submissions.
Yeah. And for some folks, so like YHDP folks are new this year, or if there are new staff members at other agencies, people, so you guys don't know this, but people have done it in the past, have had to send it to our Gmail and done attachments, and then sometimes it bounces back. And so this is much easier. While we hate to give you something new to learn in the midst of COVID, I do think the investment up front, getting yourself all set up, you will find it's just going to be easier for all of us all around. So it's just a much more efficient system.
Yeah, and we did last week when we did this, and we'll do this again this week. We stayed on for a few minutes after if people wanted to create an account right here while we were here and ask us questions.
Yep.
We did get some feedback. One person said it was fairly painless, so I told her I would quote her this week.
And those of you who are good at toggling or multiple monitors or like to listen and do things, you know, the link is up. I apologize. The first link didn't work. I don't know what I did wrong, but on how to get into Zengine. So
yeah, it's also, it's linked here in this presentation. So who must sign up? Each project on the project list that is linked here must create a Zengine account. Each project or a sub-project, if relevant, will have a user account. There can be more than one project attached to the same user account. So for instance, if you're a provider that has 5 COC grants, you can have more than one grant attached to your account. If more than one provider agency is involved in a COC grant or a project recipient is DMIS or DOH, each provider agency must create their own user profile. Also, if there's no service provider assigned to a DMIS project, the DMIS LMHA must create a profile. When you're creating the profile, I'll say this more than once, but if you're one of those grants where the grant recipient is DMIS or DOH and there is an A or a B or a C, when you're telling us what grant your agency represents, please use that A or B or C at the end of the CT, the 4 numbers, and then use the A, B, or C. So before you start, just have this information available so that you'll be able to complete the profile. You have to assign a primary and at least one secondary contact. A third contact is optional. More instructions on DMIS, DOH, and YHDP coming up. Provide executive director contact information for the provider agency, and then 2 people from your agency who have eSNAPS access. Also have your project COC grant IDs ready, and then that format again is the CT with the 4 digits behind it, and if applicable, the A or B or C. Excuse me, only the primary contact should create an account. So there's one contact profile for your agency, and then you will have to share your login information. So that's your email address and a password with anyone else you want to be able to submit documents through that profile. So just give a thought to when you're creating a password, maybe not have it be the same password you use for every other account you create, because you're going to have to share that information. So providers with multiple grants, to use the same account to submit documents for more than one project, email me, tell me, because when you'll see when we go through, in the contact profile, you'll choose the grant that you represent. It only allows you to check one. So send me an email, say, I already signed up, designated myself as a primary for this grant, and tell me the additional project IDs that you want your account to be associated with, and we'll go ahead and make that connection on the back end. Also, if you want to use different Zengine user accounts to submit documents for 2 or more projects in your agency. So say your agency has 5 rapid rehousing projects and 5 PSH projects, and there's different teams or a different person assigned to each of those sets of each of those sets of projects. You can set up 2 different user accounts. This set of people is responsible for PSH, and you'll just tell me, you'll tell me the grants numbers you want associated with that account if it's more than one. And this set of people is for rapid, same thing. Remember, each CT BOS Zengine user or contact profile can be associated with more than one project. So these are the instructions for DMIS, DOH, and YHDP. So obviously there are several grants within these categories. If you're one of those categories, put up the representative of whatever's applicable to you, DMIS, DOH, or YHDP. Put the DMIS representative, DOH representative, or YHDP representative as your third contact. So if the grantee, the grant recipient, is DMIS, you're going to put Lisa Callahan's name as the third contact. If the grant recipient is DOH, you're going to put Lee Shields Church as the third contact. And if your grant is YHDP, no matter who the recipient is, put Katie Durand as the third contact option. And that way they will receive some of the emails and know what's going on with these grants and be able to follow up if that's appropriate. Okay, so creating an account. Sign up. Here's the link to get to the sign up screen. Use that link and it'll bring you to this screen. You, as a new user, are going to click this green area where the green circle, click sign up. Then you'll enter an email address, create a password. There's going to be instructions there for setting up your passwords, how many caps, how many lowercase, if there should be a number. There's a checkbox there where you will affirm that you've been authorized by your agency to submit data and/or documents into the database. Click that checkbox if that's appropriate for you. And then the next step, new users will be prompted to create a profile. So here's the profile page. Complete everything that's in there. Everything that's required has an asterisk next to it, and most things are required. Input your agency and project for which you're the primary contact. For the naming convention for agency, it may have been input into the system in a different way than how you would do it. So if you're having trouble just typing coming up, you can pull the drop-down list and look through. They should be in alphabetical order, or you could just try different naming conventions, abbreviations, full names, that kind of thing. All providers, again, are required to enter secondary contact information, executive director, and 2 eSnaps users. Again, you can only choose one project from the drop-down list. So if there's more than one project that your contact profile represents, send me an email with that additional information. The grants, when you've come to the grant drop-down list, they're listed in numerical order. So you'll see, for instance, CT 1111 2018, CT 1111 2019. Choose the 2019 grant year, please. On that project list that was linked, if your grant, there's a list, there's also at the very bottom, there's a second table with grants that have been consolidated. So there's a left column, the grants that used to exist, the right column, the surviving grant number. If your grant has been consolidated, please use the right-hand column number, the surviving grant number. Then click create a profile at there's either the top right or the bottom right. And if for some reason you need to leave unfinished and return back, you just click save draft and then return, and you'll click edit, and then you'll save it when you're complete there. the home page will appear when your profile is created, and a green complete will show up to the right of the word profile. You'll see this when we go through it later. Updates to the profile. The contact profile can always be updated by logging in to that same URL you were given before and clicking the blue edit button. This way you can change the secondary contact, add or change the third contact, change eSnaps users, any of those items. The only thing is if you're changing the primary user, so then you would also change the login email. We ask that you email us, email CTBOS at the Gmail account, and we'll give you further instructions because that's something that needs to be done on the back end. We'll still want to keep that contact profile connected to the same grants. So we'll just need to do some things on the back end if you're changing that. Submitting documents. So your profile is created. Now you move on to document submission. At the bottom half of that homepage where it says complete, you'll see this screen and you'll click it. If you have not submitted any documents in the past, this get started, this blue get started will show up. If you have submitted documents in the past, there will be a square to the right of that that says add another. So you click whatever button is appropriate depending on that. And then this bottom right screen shows up and you'll click open to begin your document submission process. So again, everything with an asterisk is required. And in the document type field, choose the type that was requested when the link was sent, if that's applicable. We envision in the future being able to send you, this is due, and we'll tell you, for instance, renewal evaluation agency information form, and we'll tell you the due date. So we'll name however it is named in the system when we send you the document, when we send you the request for what's due. We haven't done that yet because we haven't even, everyone doesn't even have a contact profile in there. So that's why I'm saying we're going to kind of do double processes, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to give you the exact name for the document. If you haven't received a document type, choose the type that's most relevant for what you're submitting now. There is also an other category, so you could do that if needed. Upload your document in the last field by clicking select a file. You'll be directed to find the file on your device if you've done that before when you've submitted different documents. Select the file you desire to upload. The file title will show in the field, and then the file title will show in the field next to select a file. Again, should you get interrupted at all during this process, you can always save, draft, and return later by using the same URL. Complete submission. So you click mark complete on the bottom right once all the correct information has been input and the correct file has been uploaded. And then the following screen, as the screenshot will appear, with the title as the document type and the grant number. You have to it's still not submitted. At this point, below what you see here, there will be file information and there'll be a view button. You could still view that and you could see if all the information is correct. But it's not until you click the green submit button here that the document is actually submitted. Once the green submit button is clicked, a message will appear saying this has been submitted. Once it's been submitted, you can no longer edit it. You could click view again and it'll show you the document information. And you could also download, if for some reason you're thinking, oh my gosh, was that the right document that I clicked right there? You could download that and double check it. And if you find that you did do something wrong, you submitted the wrong document, you could always send us an email and we could reset it to not complete and have you redo it. It's fixable. Additional submissions. So if you have additional documents, you're doing more than one document at a time, return to the home page. So you'll be back at this screen and you'll see this blue home page. You can either click that or click this link that's here. and it'll prompt you to be able to add another, and then repeat that as many times as needed. So I'm going to stop for any questions. You can either put them in the chat box, you can unmute yourself if you're on the phone by clicking *6, or by the little microphone icon if you're on Zoom on the web on your computer. Any questions? All right, I'm going to now walk through doing this. Let's see. Okay, am I sharing the right? Okay, all right, thank you. So you go to that URL, and this is where it brings you. If I had signed up before my computer saves the information, your information would show in there, you would click login. I'm going to pretend I haven't signed in before and click sign up here. All right, and this is saving information from before. So I'm going to create this is my email and my password. You see, it must contain one lowercase letter, one uppercase letter, one number between 8 and 32 characters, and must not be an email address. So, and once you, hold on, let me do it. Once you develop something that agrees with all those categories, everything will show up green, and you can proceed. Okay. Passwords match. I affirm that I'm an authorized person to submit information for my agency, and then I click sign up. Not saving it. Okay, create a profile. We tried to put a bunch of instructional text in there in case that's helpful too. So some of this, I'm just going to put in some quick information here in the interest of time.
Yep.
But
and also, we didn't mention, we want executive directors information, but they will not be included when we send out reminders. So just the 3 contacts will be on there, just so you know. They won't get flooded with emails.
My agency, Access Agency is the first one. Secondary is also required. I'm going to click no, I don't have a 3rd contact, but if you clicked yes, all these fields would show up again for the 3rd contact.
And while we don't have any NOFA news, we just don't know what's going to happen. This is a good time to just make sure you have 2 eSnaps users. You know, if you've had staff changes and turnover, you want to make sure that you have 2 folks who have their own Snaps account, so you're ready to go if and when HUD asks something of any of us.
I'm seeing Paul has a question, but so remind me, after we do this go through, I'll look at that. So just to let you know, the calendar pops up when you ask when the last time this information was verified. It defaults as today. You can put whatever day is appropriate, but that's how we're going to tell periodically when we ask you to look in here. Even if there's no changes, we would ask that you go ahead and update this date so we know that at least you've looked at it, because we do need that information up to date for those key times, like when the NOVA is ready. So this is where the grants pop up. And like I said, they're in numerical order. They'll show up 2018 and 2019 because both sets of projects we have had uploaded here already. So I'm going to go ahead and click the 2019 year. I'm going to just, whoever CT0011 is, I'm going to go ahead and delete all this after so we don't have incorrect information in here, but for the purpose of showing you all, I'm choosing that grant. Then I'm going to click Create Profile. And complete, you see this green complete here. If I knew I wanted to edit at any point, I come in here and click the blue edit. I'm going to submit a document now, so I move on to Get Started. Open. So project name. Grant number. That's a made up grant number. I'm going to delete it. Document type. So we tried to, because we know this is renewal evaluation season, we put renewal evaluation document types at the top, and we'll try to do that if and when we can. Put whatever we know is most pressing and we've asked for from people towards the top of the list. So agency info form is one of the first things that's due. I'm going to pick that. Again, it defaults to today's date, and then I'm going to select a file. You can go wherever you need to go on your computer to find that. Click Open. And then and you can see the trash can appears next to what you've uploaded. If you realize you did the wrong thing, you just click the trash can and then reselect your file. I could either save a draft or mark as complete. I'm going to mark as complete. And again, I still have to click Submit. It's not submitted until I do that. So I'm going to click Submit. And now it's been submitted. I get this message, and I can also go ahead and view. Show you. So this shows you everything about input. And right here where this cloud with the arrow icon is where I could click and download it and look at it and say, is that really the right thing that I did or not? I'm going to backspace here to go to where I just was. So it's been submitted. If I know that I need to submit something else at the same time, I'm just going to go up here and click Homepage. And that'll bring me back to, see, this is now under review. This is these ribbons that it talks about here. The status bar is this ribbon right here under review. So you know you've done everything you need to do at this point. It's in our ballpark right now, and I can add another if I need to add another. So that's my, you know what, I'm going to say any questions, but I'm also going to go to Paul's question. First, I want to reshare, go back to the PowerPoint.
So I think,
okay, pause. Liz, you have something?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. Can you clarify what this will look like if you have multiple projects on one account? For you, I don't think it will look much different. For us on the back end, you just need to email us so that we know what projects to associate with your account. So we'll do that on the back end. But when you come in and you're going to tell us one grant, you're going to email me that one grant I already did, these grants I want you to connect me to. And then if you wanted to proceed at that point, you have an account set up and submit documents for any one of those grants that you just told me you represent, you could do that without us having done anything. You would just make sure you put the right grant number in for every document you're submitting, right? I hope that answers your question. Tell me if it doesn't. And then you say, will the submitter receive any kind of acknowledgement? We're working on that. We hope to have some emails automated on the back end. Right now, I would go with that, that this has been submitted, that green, that your document has been submitted. But we're working on creating emails and notices at different stages. So this point is under, the one we just submitted is under review. At another point, it might be, let me see, action required, under review, or red error. If it's under review and you don't receive anything from us, I would just go with that, it's good. Okay, that's that. So these are just some important reminders. Again, we're using the contact profiles in Zengine to keep our contacts and our distribution lists up to date. So we generate emails about what's due when, we track what's received and not received, send reminders to the people we haven't received things from. You'll be prompted to review the contact profile at regular intervals. Contacts. Every time someone creates a contact in Zengine or updates a contact in Zengine, the system checks back with constant contact, and the constant contact information is updated at the grantee list as well. Just a reminder, that's not the same for the steering committee list. You need to go through CT BOS to make sure that's there if you want it to be there. You're on that distribution list if you want to be. So you're reminded that you have to share that profile sign-in information with anyone who has permission at your agency to submit documents. Reminder to choose the 2019 grant number when you're completing the grant profile, and to email me if your profile supports more than one grant. If there are different people, teams who are responsible for different COC grants in your agency, create additional contact profile for those teams. Zengine's ready right now for creating your contact profile and document submission, and especially since we just kicked off the renewal evaluation season, we just urge you to get in there as quickly as possible, set up your contact profile, and then you'll just be ready. It'll be one less thing when the first deadline comes up, which is on November 9th, when the agency information and consumer surveys are due. And just a note about consumer surveys, some people, we as we have in the past, create SurveyMonkey links, which were sent out with the email yesterday for every project, but some projects still send us the paper forms that are copied. So if you do the SurveyMonkey links, there's nothing to submit in Zengine. If you're submitting the paper forms or copies of the paper forms, that needs to be done through Zengine. I try to use naming conventions that make sense, and sometimes I use the abbreviation renewal evaluation for documents you need to submit in Zengine when you're just choosing the document type. Just resources, again, this is the projects to include list with the consolidated grant information. There's a Word document, how to create a Zengine account, and a Word document, how to submit documents, in addition to this PowerPoint, the slides from this PowerPoint, if they're useful for you. And again, we can't say how much we appreciate you. I know this time is challenging for everyone, and learning a new process can be challenging. Again, we hope to make it fairly painless for everyone, but we know it is effort, an extra effort at this time, so we very much appreciate it. We ask that you use the resources that we've put together for you. We think they're fairly comprehensive, but feel free to reach out to us if you do need assistance, Liz or myself, and our emails are on the next slide. Miles, if you helpful, or the CT BOS Gmail if you're having trouble with any of this. And any more questions before we finish? Hey.
This is Annie from CCADV. Hi, Liz. Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
I was curious, and maybe I should know this, but going backwards, you were talking about the eSnaps users, and I just go into eSnaps so infrequently that I know, I mean, I have a username and a password, but is that connected to an email address and a person? And if so, if I need to add users, can I do that myself, or do I have to work with DOH to add a user?
I can tell you the mechanics. In fact, someone asked that on the last call. So I'm going to put the link on how to add and delete registrants. So I'll put that there, put that on there. But you may just want to touch base with DOH on, I don't know how you guys do, how you guys go in and do it. So as long as you are a user, you can add another user, but just in terms of coordinating, you might just want to coordinate with DOH.
I think the link is also to how to add an eSnaps user is also in one of the documents. Yeah, but this is going to attach it here.
Great. And Radhika just asked if you can use DEMA surveys. Yes. So yeah, feel free to ask us renewal evaluation questions too. We're in the thick of everything, so that's fine. Yes. So you can use DEMA surveys from the last year. Absolutely.
Any other questions? All right, if there are no other questions, Liz and I are happy to hang out and for another 15 minutes or however, for 15 minutes or so, if people want to walk through creating their contact profile now and ask questions live while we're here. We're going to stop the recording, right? We forgot to stop the recording last time. But we'll hang out here for a little while